Hi there, my name's Jake and welcome to The Culture Business. We're going to talk about working from home today because there are plenty of benefits and plenty of negatives that you've got to watch out for. One of the ways that working from home is really good is it helps to go towards this vision of lean production that a lot of businesses have. So when the managers see and talk about working from home, they think it's great. Lean production is a combination of human resource changes and reorganization to go towards the goal of high efficiency, cost reduction, and higher productivity. When coronavirus is around, obviously people are working from home because they aren't allowed to go into work because they will catch the virus. We also see people working from home where they can because it cuts costs. As I said, there are a lot of negatives around working from home. The first of which is talking about talent or high talent and low talent employees. When we think about low talent employees, we're not just talking about the people who aren't necessarily the best at their job. We're talking about the people who are reliant on the fact that there is an office to go to. These people aren't, for example, the management consultants who can go around on their laptops and everything. They do need to go into the office to get the job done that they use to earn money. And when we think about these employees, all of your employees, in fact, being social people, they're not just cogs in the machine. When you start to lose that percentage of people, it does have detrimental effects. And when we go further, and not just losing those people temporarily, but making them redundant, this can lead to what we call survivor syndrome. Survivor syndrome can decrease morale, increase absenteeism, and decrease overall productivity for the people that are left working in your business. And let's face it, less productive talent, less motivated talent decreases your competitive advantage. Even without losing these staff, the widespread neglect of staff can lead to collective bargaining power, which means that they will be able to get employment security. In turn, there's pressure on the management to increase operational efficiency, which is exactly why we're in this situation in the first place. As deteriorating performance increasingly promotes aggressive headcount reductions, you can inadvertently lose talented staff. You'll reduce the morale within the employees, and you'll also reduce the reputation of your company. Let's talk about your staff that are working from home. Significant health and mental well-being challenges have affected people working from home throughout the whole COVID-19 pandemic, and this needs to be monitored by your company. The Institute for Employment Studies in 2020 found that a third of respondents felt isolated working from home, and they had significant worries about their job security. This just goes to show that going from a point of significant social cohesion to social isolation really is a shock to the system. And if you're a company that is just ignoring that, then it's going to damage how your firm operates. So how can you avoid all of these negative scenarios? Firstly, we look at employees, and as we mentioned earlier, the massive contributor to the negatives from working from home is mental health and well-being. Working from home, do not fall into the trap of being socially isolated. I know during a pandemic you can't go and meet people, but there are other ways around interacting with your colleagues that you would have done during non-lockdown scenario. You also have to take control of the communication between yourself and your manager. Taking initiative in situations like these really helps the flow of information that will allow you to do your job better and feel more comfortable working from home. What both employees and managers can do as well is to generate this feeling of trust. Now, there's always an adversarial relationship between employees and managers. One of them's trying to make the most efficient progress they can with what they're working with, and the other's trying to get paid as much as they can. That's all nonsense. What the best thing to do in situations like these is to work together, and in some extreme cases of this, it generates a shared governance approach to the way the business is run. As a manager, there's also 4 steps that you can take to mitigate these issues. you have to focus on low talent and even furloughed staff. Although they might not be bringing the most money in or even any money in at all at the time, they are still your employees, they're still your responsibility. And if you are going to call on them in the future to ease the transition, you need to look after them. Mass redundancies, as we said earlier, are a recipe for disaster. They are a big no-no, and I will be making a video about this sometime soon, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. But there are other ways to integrate employees into the business that aren't full-time employment. And finally, mental health. Although it's the employee's responsibility, be mindful of what is going on and help where you can. You can't independently see to every employee if you're running a business of 3 people or more, but just make sure that you're doing your best to look after them and making it as easy for each other as possible. Do what you can to bring your workforce together.